to school and work, waiting for some fun while my boss acts like a jerk. Pro show afternoons, midnight sketch can't come too soon. The afternoon sketch can't come too soon. But at night I'm filled with dread. I know just what I'll do instead. Come on and follow me. It's time you see for Lorn and Apollo. Time to laugh and learn. Come feel the burn of what the fandom was. What random fun doesn't escape. Isn't it great? Late night with Lorn and Apollo.
Good evening, everybody, and I'm afraid that I have to start off with an unfortunate programming note. Kevin was planning to be here tonight. This was going to be his first test night to see if his stamina could hold up to doing a late night show again. Unfortunately, he had an emergency at his workplace, which is not related to him, but has kind of tied him up for the evening. He is going to try and pop in, but I don't know when or even if for sure he's going to be able to make it. So he did want to send his love on to everybody and make sure that you know that he is doing better and he wants to be here, but there's a possibility that we may not see him tonight, and if we do, it's likely to be only briefly. So that's why Kevin's not on the screen with me here, but I do have my two other excellent co-hosts here for the moment, Martin Stone and Trish. Guys, how are you doing?
Hola.
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, not bad.
It's good to hear. Marvin is also not with us at the moment because he has gone to see He-Man for a second time. So he is now engaging in sitting in a movie theater, probably munching on popcorn and cursing at the proceedings on the screen. You're stuck with us for the next couple hours. Martin, what have you been up to over the last few days?
I don't know. I've been doing some reading. I think I told you the other night I'd read through the Star Wars Yuuzhan Vong War series of novels, and now I'm reading a business book. So exciting time.
Well, that's less exciting than I was hoping for.
I've got kids doing summer stuff, and I'm chasing them around, trying to get them to and from people's birthday parties. Doing the dad thing mostly.
I was hoping to talk to you about whatever you were reading. It's like it's a business book. It's like I jumped to the Lego movie going, business.
My wife is always making that joke when I'm like, somebody will ask me at church about some point or something, and on the way home she goes, business.
I love the Lego movie. It is one of the first movies that my son really anticipated seeing in a theater when he was very young. I think the first one that we went to see was Big Hero 6. But the Lego movie was the first big deal of a movie for him, and it was a great movie, and I love it for a multitude of reasons. Trish, tell me you have not been reading business books, please.
I haven't, but I wouldn't exactly say that makes me more interesting than Martin, because I really don't think
you're both useless. What do I have you here for? Come on, I got 10 minutes to fill before we can get to the first news item, and you're like, no, I haven't really been up to much.
This is like anytime I catch up with someone that I haven't talked to in a while, like you almost, once it's long enough, you don't want to do it anymore because you're just like, oh, they're going to ask me how things are, and I got nothing. Like, nothing exciting has happened. Like, maybe nothing's bad, but I also don't have any kind of thrilling tale to tell them. And you're like, I don't want them to think I'm boring.
Yeah, you guys are boring. Fine. I'll tell all kinds of interesting stories since none of you are going to do it. Most of this week for me has been taken up with doing meal prep and cooking, because when I got back from the annual get-together, pretty much my cupboards were bare, so I had to go and do a bunch of grocery shopping and pick stuff up. Over the last few days, I made a giant batch of chicken strips. I actually published my chicken strip recipe on X if you guys are interested in that. I made a batch of jambalaya. There was something else that I made. What was the other thing I made? Taco meat. It was a shredded chicken taco meat. I still need to make some rice to go with that. And I was thinking about making some chili sauce as well, although I have not done that yet. Went out with some friends to the local Mexican restaurant for lunch today. Spent most of the day accidentally falling asleep or trying to fall asleep because I didn't sleep well last night. That's real exciting stuff for you. But also got together with local friends to have that lunch and get caught up with them because I hadn't seen them in a couple of weeks. This afternoon, I actually dug out an old computer game that I hadn't played in a long, long time. Which I had forgotten how good it is. It's by a defunct studio, but it was called Hand of Fate. It was sort of a deck building type of game that had some light action RPG elements that was really cool. They actually did make a physical version of the game that's mega expensive now, but looks like it's a lot of fun. So if you guys have never heard of that, I would suggest checking that out. Trying to think, is there anything else interesting that's going on? Because
I do have a video game that is not going to sound very interesting, but I've been playing it, and I've just been throwing on an audiobook and listening to it while I play it. So it kind of tells you about the, I guess, pace of it. But
is it a cozy game? I know you like cozy
essentially,
games.
yeah. It's called A Librarian Tidy Up the Arcane Library. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I saw it come across the Steam feed here a couple days ago.
Yeah, and it's not an expensive game either. I think I paid like $6 for it, and there's more to come too, which is I love that because then you really feel like even like $6, but you really feel like you get your $6 worth. But basically, like magical shenanigans disrupt this magical library at this school, and you are in charge of cleaning it up and organizing it, and you can't leave until you do it. And along the way, you pick up powers to make it easier.
I watched the trailer for this game, and I was thinking I could not in good conscience buy it, because it seems to me that the publisher is exploiting people's mental illnesses with this game. You are actively engaging people with OCD who have a need for things to be organized and put away.
Do you want me to make it worse?
You're making them uncomfortable by deliberately mixing things up and telling them you can't leave until you've cleaned this all.
Well, because in case anyone doesn't know, you have to get the right books in the right sections, and there's volumes. So when you put them on a shelf, they have to be 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, 1 to 3. You have to get them. You can't have them all higgledy-wiggly out of order. But one of the achievements is to not use any major magic. And so I was like, I'm going to do this.
They are absolutely exploiting.
They completely are. But I made it harder on myself. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to put, like, if it's all green books, I'm going to try to put, like, all the light ones and then make it look like ombre. And I made it, like, 10 times harder on myself.
Do you know what polyhedral dice are?
Is that, like, certain sided dice or something?
Yes.
I don't clearly know what it is.
Anybody that plays Dungeons and Dragons would know what this are. They are multifaceted dice with a different number of faces on each die, and you use each of the dice for different things in the game. And generally in Dungeons and Dragons, you get a 4-sided die, a 6-sided die, an 8-sided die, 2 10-sided dice, a 12-sided die, and a 20-sided die. And I'm a very organized person. And when I was growing up, I had a display of all of my Dungeons & Dragons stuff in a bookshelf. And I had my dice arranged by the number of faces graduating upwards. And then I also had the faces showing incrementing. So they would number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And my friends noticed this and would pick them up and shake them and throw them so that they were just random dice on my shelf.
Higgledy-piggledy.
And then they would watch me for amusement because they could see that I was vibrating, wanting to fix it, and just taking bets on how long it was going to take before I would have to rearrange them and put them back the way they were supposed to be.
That's just mean.
It is, but I did a similar thing because I once had a boss who had a similar affliction, and he had a magnetic whiteboard in his office. And he had arranged, he had all of these little magnets that were different colors. He had arranged them in a grid and graduating through the color spectrum. And I had taken them and spread them all out across the whiteboard. That didn't bother him because it was truly random. So I put them all back in the grid the way that he had them, and then I moved one.
Oh,
And that drove him absolutely crazy. So the struggle is real.
I know that sometimes people from the major studios and gaming spheres watch, the people in our circle. We know this because Jonas got followed for a brief time by a couple of them.
Oh, really?
High-powered individuals, yes, who I'm sure didn't want us to know that they were watching us.
But
Oh,
if anybody's listening, I'm just going to throw this out to the people over at Warner Brothers Game Studio and the Harry Potter people. But a cozy game where you clean up Hogwarts after all the events of the books.
I'd play it.
Like magical pressure washer?
I was thinking you could do one of two things. One, some adorable little kid who is just sweetness and light is being punished by Filch, sends them out to clean. And the other, you could play the other track where you're playing as Filch and he's just British swearing the whole time.
No, combine the two ideas. This is where you've got it wrong. This is the story of Filch and how he started off as a little boy, all sweetness and light, but over the years, having to clean up all of these messes, turned into the Filch that we know.
A prequel origin story of his villain.
Filch
how he became so villainous. Yes, so upset because he's a squib. That's the only problem, is you can't incorporate magic.
Hey, watch the language.
All right.
My apologies, sir.
For those who don't know, Trish, explain what a squib is.
It's someone who's born to a magical family, but they themselves are not magical.
So they're essentially a muggle.
Essentially, I mean, technically they've got magical lineage, but none of the benefits of having that magical lineage, I suppose. We're muggles.
It's like being constantly under attack.
I mean, you could kind of understand why he'd be so bitter when you think about it.
Yeah.
We do have some super chats to get to that have come in. We have one from Mark Fields for $4.99 saying, I love the film My Science Project. I like it better than Back to the Future. Positive vibes to you all. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Mark.
I wish Marv were here for that.
Yeah, he'd probably have some words to say.
Yeah.
We have from Juliet for £5 Morning Late Night Live with Lorn, Apollo, and Chat. And Good morning to you, Juliet. Thank you for being out there and cleaning up our magical mistakes. We have from Solstice Studios for $50. Thank you, sir. That is amazingly generous of you. We miss you, Kevin. Hello, Lorn, Martin, and Trish. Back to the years of movies. 1985 is great. Yeah, and I feel a little bad because I didn't want to restart this series until Kevin was back, so this one kind of got a little off kilter. But I'm hoping he's at least able to watch. I'm sure that there are a number of picks from each of us that would have been in his list, especially in Martin's list. Martin, I felt like was nailing Kevin's vibe, so we'll see how that goes. And we have, oh my. Is that Jonas?
Hi diddly ho.
That is Jonas, isn't it?
Well, it's fake Asian wizard Black Jonas.
Yes, but look at the face in the image.
Yes, it's fake Asian wizard Black Jonas.
Can you? Yeah, you can do the increase.
It is. I can't believe it. I don't know if I can. Hi, Diddery. No, that's just not going to work. I can't do an Asian accent. Hi.
Oh my god, I didn't even put that together. I'm so slow.
Hi, Diddery Ho, Panarinos. I don't know. I'm sure that's bad. I did my best. I apologize. Liquid Fox 85 for $5 Canadian. Hi, everyone. What a wonderful year 1985 was. It gave us Friday the 13th, Part 5, Day of the Dead, Ghoulies, Fright Night, and, of course, me.
Truly an epic year.
The real reason Liquid Fox wanted to put that out there. And me.
And we've got Chef Eddie for $5. Hail, Trish, queen of that pod place. That pod place? How are you the queen of that pod place?
Because I pop on it and Lost Guys too, so that is more than one venue in which I appear, so I
I
am pretty
guess
much the queen.
I suppose that's true. I think you're the only
Are there any
female
other
that
women? Yeah.
it's okay by default.
I was just
Hail
gonna say by
Trish,
default, Trish, you got it.
Queen of that pod place, president of the Supernatural fan club, aficionado of fine music, vampire slayer extraordinaire, etc., etc., etc.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I liked the music one. I do
You're
think
about
I
to the
like
point
live
where you're
music.
going to need some kind of a herald to list out all of your supposed accomplishments as you glide into the room.
We need a clip of like someone playing one of those like little curly trumpets. Not a French horn, but like, you know, the really skinny ones that have like the loop
The
in it.
bugle?
Is it a bugle? But it's like skinny and long like a trumpet. Is that a bugle?
Skinny.
At least in my brain, it's skinny the way I'm picturing it.
Yeah, no, there are some, but
Well, then
the
we'll say
bugles
it's
come in
bugle.
different.
Not the snack though, not the bugle
Right.
snack. But yeah, we need a clip of a bugle player just sounding a little melody, and then that's how you know I am about to be presented in all of my titles, all of my glory.
Presented. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So our first story for the night. Domino's Pizza slams God of War Laufey for benching Kratos as Santa Monica Studios responds.
What?
And boy, is this getting a lot of attention. When a pizza company ends up at the center of a gaming controversy, you know something unusual is happening. That's exactly what unfolded this week after Domino's Pizza UK took a shot at Sony Santa Monica's upcoming God of War Laufey, a game that has already sparked significant debate among longtime fans due to the absence of Kratos as the playable lead. The social media exchange quickly went viral, drawing millions of views and putting renewed attention on one of the biggest questions surrounding Sony's next major PlayStation release. Why move forward with a mainline God of War game without the character who built the franchise? The conversation started when Domino's UK responded to footage from God of War Laufey with a simple joke. God of War game with no Kratos equals pepperoni passion with no pepperoni. The comparison immediately connected with many fans who have voiced concern ever since Sony revealed that Kratos would not be the central character in the game. Rather than letting the comment pass, Sony Santa Monica responded directly. Okay, thanks for the feedback, Domino's Pizza corporate account. The reply
That's
generated
the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, I know. The reply generated plenty of attention on its own, but it also had the unintended effect of extending the conversation surrounding Kratos' removal from the spotlight. The reason Domino's comment spread so quickly is because it addressed the exact concern many players have been discussing since the game's reveal. For most gamers, God of War and Kratos are inseparable. The character has been the face of the franchise since the original game launched in 2005, appearing in every major installment while evolving from an angry anti-hero into one of PlayStation's most recognizable icons. That's why the reveal of God of War Laufey caught so many people off guard. Sony has confirmed the title as a major continuation of the franchise rather than a side project or spin-off, yet Kratos has been replaced by his wife Laufey, also known as Faye, as the central protagonist. For some players, it feels like PlayStation is sidelining the very character audiences show up to see. The reaction to God of War Laufey has also reignited broader conversations taking place throughout the gaming industry. Many players have pointed to a growing number of major franchises that have shifted away from established male protagonists in recent years. Sony has been at the center of several of those discussions. The Last of Us Part 2 dramatically changed the focus of its story after Joel's controversial exit from the narrative. Ghost of Yotai moves beyond Jin Sakai following the successes of Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know why I can't say that. Now God of War is entering a similar conversation. Whether fans view these decisions positively or negatively, the pattern has become impossible for many gamers to ignore. That context helps explain why a joke from a fast food company gained so much traction. The comment wasn't creating a new criticism, it was amplifying a critique that already existed. Perhaps the most surprising aspect of the exchange is how effectively Domino's managed to seize control of the conversation. Instead of discussion centering on gameplay mechanics, story details, or technical improvements, much of the online conversation shifted toward Kratos' absence and Sony's response. The pizza chain's original post generated millions of impressions, while countless users piled on with memes, jokes, and commentary. For Domino's, it was a social media victory. For Sony, it was another reminder that many fans remain unconvinced by the decision to move forward without the franchise's most recognizable figure. At the end of the day, social media reactions only tell part of the story. If God of War Laufey delivers a compelling experience, strong reviews, and impressive sales numbers, many of today's criticisms could fade into the background. Gaming history is full of titles that overcame skepticism and won players over after release. However, the viral exchange between Domino's and Sony Santa Monica demonstrates that questions surrounding Kratos' absence remain front and center. Fans aren't simply talking about the gameplay trailer, they're talking about the direction of the franchise itself. And until players finally get their hands on God of War Laufey, that debate is unlikely to disappear anytime soon. So, in today's climate, I'm amazed that Sony is even thinking about trying to do this. I don't know who they think they're making this series for. I don't see any way they could positively spin this. And I gather, Trish, that you hadn't heard about this because you seemed a little
Yeah.
surprised by this.
Yeah,
But
no.
but Martin, I'm assuming that you have heard of it. Did you see the God of War Laundry trailer that was made?
I haven't seen the laundry trailer.
Can I tell you? Okay, actually, before you get to that, on the side of my YouTube, I had a video suggested to me, and it said laundry. I'm pretty sure it said laundry, and then I kept seeing the actual title of this game, and I got really confused. I was like, was someone being funny? Was there something else I didn't know? And then it was very confusing. So,
Well,
is it just like a spoof thing?
Yes, it's God of War Laundry, and it shows the Laufey character basically magicking up a washing machine and stuffing it with clothes to do laundry. Women's work, you see. So I'm
Okay.
but that's the thing, and it's like how they thought they wouldn't be attacked in this way is kind of beyond me. I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with this.
I got to expect that somebody over at the games division is unaware of what a sunk cost is and thought, well, we've got to recoup something out of this.
It's like, my gosh, I mean, this is one of their flagship properties. This is not a non-dangerous thing to play around with, though.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember when Warner Brothers tried to disappear and successfully disappeared Batgirl because they thought it would damage the entire Batman franchise.
They weren't wrong either. And if you want to
not the
continue
TV show, the movie that had Brendan Fraser as Firefly.
Yep, I know.
Have we heard much about that? I mean, some people swear it was going to be great. Some people are like, yeah, it was obviously going to be trash.
Yeah, I have never heard anything that said it was going to be great. I am sorry that it's a Brendan Fraser performance that got buried, but I think he still got paid, and I don't think it would ever be worth the risk in the environment it would have been releasing in, knowing the stances they would have been taking to ever let it see the light of day.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another one of those things where I feel like, man, what are you doing here? It's not touted as like a spin-off. It's not, and the franchise for the last couple of games. Now, I haven't played them, so I can't claim to be an expert on this, but it's had Christopher Judge attached, who I believe is pretty popular in his portrayal of the character. And so that's another thing where it's like, I wonder how he's taking this. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that maybe we're being overly harsh and should be giving them a chance? Or in this environment, should they just be taking the lesson that this ain't working anywhere and you're just poking the bear?
I don't know. Is she supposed to be the new God of War?
I don't know, but let's say for the sake of argument.
Okay. Well, because Greece had two gods of war.
Ares.
Well, and really that they had sort of more when you include demigods and like Deimos and I can't remember his twin brother's name, but sure. You had Ares and you had Athena. Athena represented the arts of war at its strategic level, and Ares represented the carnage of war.
Well, yeah, but they've also moved now into the Norse pantheon, which I think is, and that was a question I was going to have about this because Laufey was the head of the frost giants in my recollection, and so I'm wondering why they're taking that name for his wife, and if there was any tie there. But I think for the sake of argument, let's say that she is not intended to be the god of war. Let's give them all the benefit of the doubt and say that Kratos is not being replaced. But even if that's the case, it takes 3 to 6 years generally to make a high quality game. And that means that development time has been spent on producing this, which is automatically going to have a smaller market appeal than a mainline God of War game would have, and would delay the creation and development of any such game by a significant amount of time, which is, again, only going to annoy your fan base.
Right. And may damage the mainline brand. I don't know, because we really, it's difficult when doing what we do with this stuff, because admittedly we haven't played these things yet, but also we have pattern recognition, and often it works out exactly the way we think it will.
I also think we're beyond I'm sorry, Lauren, that we're beyond giving the benefit of the doubt in a lot of these things too. So
And I do see in the chat that people are saying that, yes, she actually is of the Jotun race, but is not a giant. So that explains that, and that she is given the title because her son is called Loki. So that actually makes a ton of sense in that sense. So I guess I would also ask the chat, being as I have not played these games, is this character, has she been given significant story time in the existing games? And if so, is there enough meat on the bone there that you think that she could carry a full game? Because I'm approaching this from the standpoint of, we're doing the thing that all of the producers of pop culture are doing right now, and trying to shift the narrative to a girl boss. But if you're going to tell me that she's actually been given some character development and plays a major role in the existing games, maybe we are prejudging it. So I guess I would ask the chat, what do you think? Is this viable, or is it a mistake? And I guess we've got these handy widgets now. I've never done one of these. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to try it.
While you're trying that, and I'll ask the chat, because I haven't really kept up with the series, but if I remember correctly, in the original series, Kratos kind of does what Hercules did in the mythology and slaughters his own family. Is that correct? So this would be the second wife from when he's in the Scandinavian countries.
I believe so. Okay. But I don't know that for sure. So, all right, there we go, folks. I've just put it up. I've never done this before, so I want to know what you guys think. So let's see. There are some responses here. Not in gameplay, but she was able to hold her own against Thor in battle with a Leviathan, but that was made by the same dwarves that made Thor's hammer. It was a prequel, yes, but it's a sequel. Don't know what that means. Barry is asking, is Apollo okay? I'm just recovering from pneumonia. Hope he doesn't have something like that. No, it's not pneumonia, and the reason that he's out tonight is not due to the illness that he's been fighting. It's because he had an emergency at work that is tying him up. He was intending to come back tonight. It was going to be kind of a test run to see whether he could handle being up late, whether his endurance would handle it. But I see you guys punching 1s and 2s in the chat, but I don't see them reflected in the poll. Are you guys seeing that too?
On my end, I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if the poll's not working.
Well, so far I'm seeing a resounding 2.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I just don't see it actually recording the results. Well, that sucks. Fine, I'm taking it away. Sorry, guys. I really wanted to try that, but it does look like I haven't seen a single one yet. So I'm going to say that you guys are not thrilled about the direction. So
can I just say, I think they do these things to try to get someone like me to play, and it is absolutely doing nothing to get me to play. So mission failed, if that's the actual thing they're going for here.
Well, it's the same thing that they've done with everything else. It's what they did with Marvel when they decided they were going to convert it to the MCU. It's what they did with Star Wars. It's even what they sort of tried to do with Indiana Jones, although they sort of backpedaled at the last minute and reshot the ending. So it just doesn't work.
And there's so many assumptions, like the MCU, like, you don't know my favorite character is going to be a woman. My favorite character is not a woman. my like top 3 favorite characters at least are not women. Like that is not the basis for how I decide something like that. And it's just
Right,
I'm sure
it's
there are
absent text.
some. Yeah, it's I'm sure it's for some women. I'm not trying to make it like I'm the mouthpiece for all of them, but I think generally speaking, I don't really care. It's not about any of that.
Yep, I agree. And this is my favorite comment. Quit trying to hand our toys to someone else. Yep,
Yeah,
I
and I'm not
agree.
trying to take them. You know what I mean? Like it's almost
Mhm.
like they're taking them from you and like throwing them at my face, and I'm like, but let them have it. I don't need it. It's fine.
Well,
Yep.
back when people were up in arms about honesty in games journalism, because I think we still can't say what it's called without getting the algorithm hitting us. But I remember this line getting pulled out that women make up 50% of gaming, but that was never entirely true because they were including mobile phone gaming in those numbers. And
Yep.
that's a substantially different thing than console gaming. It's a little like saying, well, 50% of women are gamblers, or 50% of gamblers are women, because when you count in like people playing rook and euchre and stuff like that, when obviously what we're talking about is like
So
poker and
you've
blackjack and
become my great uncle all of a sudden. It's like Rook and Euchre. No one out there is going to even know what those games are.
okay, well, that's the thing. I actually didn't know those games until I married a Midwesterner.
Yep, that's where they're real popular.
I grew up playing like serious card games like poker and blackjack and like stuff where you could
Pinochle.
learn. Yeah, Pinochle.
I just wanted to say it. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's a hilarious name.
Uh, this next story is one that I think might be of interest to Trish.
Oh.
This is first edition of Harry Potter found in excellent condition in Scottish attic.
God, I wonder how much that is.
I wonder if it's J.K. Rowling's attic.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's a good point.
According to Texerto, a pristine, unread copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was found in an attic in Edinburgh, Scotland. The book had been untouched for 30 years and had been stored by Miss Katrina McNichol, 53, who had given it in the late 1990s while working as a magazine book reviewer. Being unable to read every title sent to her for review, this particular copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was packed away for years, but McNichol held on to it, move upon move ever since, before rediscovering the book while tidying up her attic. Each week I received more than 20 titles to review, and it was impossible to feature them all. I've never quite known why I set this particular book aside long before the Harry Potter phenomenon began, but I carried it with me from home to home with dozens of others, and I'm so glad that I did. I genuinely forgot it existed, McNichol told the Daily Record in the recent interview. When I came across it in a box 30 years later, I did a double take. It felt surreal. You don't expect to stumble across something so valuable in your own attic. The book deserves to be with someone who truly appreciates what it is, a small but genuine piece of publishing history. The cover of the Harry Potter and the that's just the subtext. Sorry. When J.K. Rowling's debut novel was published in 1997, Bloomsbury expected little demand and printed only 500 hardbacks and a little over 5,000 paperbacks, making both editions exceptionally rare. These copies also had their share of errors and misprints common with first editions, such as a missing O in Philosophers on the back cover, referencing wizardry and witchcraft instead of witchcraft and wizardry, and the item list of Harry's school supplies listing one wand twice on page 53. The book was expected to sell for between £7,000 and £10,000, with its original price a mere $4.99 when it first published in 1997. This first edition attracted bidders from all over the world, before it sold to a UK buyer for a total of £17,000 at rare book auctions in Lichfield, Staffordshire, in the online auction. Jim Spencer, a book expert and director of rare book auctions, said the result beat a previous record for a first edition paperback, which sold at the same auctioneers for £12,000 last year. This sale blew it out of the water, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. Because it had been kept in storage, it was in pristine condition, Spencer told the Edinburgh News. It is amazing to think first edition Harry Potter paperbacks are now achieving almost as much as hardbacks were a decade ago. It sold to a private UK buyer, which is good news for the homegrown book market because the biggest bids for Potter have traditionally always come in from the USA. The key to this auction record was the condition of the book. It was perhaps the finest example ever to come onto the market. It underlines the series' growing status as one of the defining literary phenomena of the modern age. One never knows what they have until they open up that box that's been shoved up in an attic, a basement, or even a storage unit. And with Harry Potter still being as wildly popular as ever, anything from those early days is certainly a treat for fans and collectors alike, especially if it's a surprise found in an attic.
I was going to ask how they knew it was unread until they explained who found it and why it was tucked away in their attic. I'm like, okay, that's how you could know that it's unread, because she didn't read it.
Well,
she had
I
too
gotta
much
say,
to read.
It's a fine article, but she probably should have mentioned accidentally finding something like that in the cabinet under the stairs.
Oh,
So this is actually something that I've
yes.
run into recently myself, because not this exact thing, but this is the book that I had been reading on my channel. It's an X-Wing book called Wedge's Gamble. This is a first edition book, and I keep my books in pristine condition. But one of the things that I unfortunately did while reading this one for the channel is I opened it up a little bit further than I normally do when reading, and I've actually cracked the spine on it. And I've been looking for a replacement because I like to keep mine in as close to mint condition as I can. And unfortunately, most of what you can find today is only the reprints that have the Legends banner on it. And so I started looking on the secondary market to see if I could find some in any kind of a decent condition. And the answer is no, which ended up being kind of a surprise to me. So it's kind of rough out there on the secondary market. So for something like this to be discovered is really something. And I'm really glad that it's going to be going to a good home.
I'm with you though on keeping books pristine. I always, whenever I had a paperback, was very careful not to bend the spine and stuff like that. I had some books for years, and then my dad borrowed some from me, and he's the kind of guy who like bends it all the way back so he can hold it in one hand.
Oh, that
Ugh,
makes me cry inside.
I know
W-
it hurt.
Well, I think what's happened is that my eyesight has gotten considerably worse in the last year and a half. And I noticed that I was struggling to read. And I think I was just opening it wider, trying to get a better view without realizing that I had actually damaged it. And I'm heartbroken about it because, like I said, I try and maintain them in as close to perfect condition as I can get. And this book is now, in my mind, it's still readable, but it's irreparably damaged, and there's nothing I can do about it. So,
It kind of
in
strikes me as one of those things you might find if you ever went to like a yard sale or a garage sale and they don't know what they have.
guys, I'm sorry to cut you off, Trish, but important news.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Kevin!
I'm not dead.
Don't joke. That's not funny.
I
Maybe
know.
yell at you.
I know. After the loss of Giles,
Oh, it's
hard.
just. Did I scoop you because you or Marv said anything about it to me? I'm like, I don't think they know, because I definitely would have gotten a message from at least one of you.
I posted it on my Insta, but I was at the doctor being told that I was allowed to drive again, so I wasn't
That's
able
good.
to. Slash in the middle of handling a catastrophe, but thanks to the power of first aid, and I would dare say a little bit of prayer, we came from the other side of it with some very good news.
Oh, thank goodness.
You're looking good, man. I'm really happy to see you.
Thank
Also,
you.
none of that is an excuse for not sending me the thing about Giles, just so you know. I'll let it slide this time, but don't let it happen again.
Fans
Kevin,
of coffee-centric romance stories were devastated.
Kevin, I want you to look at this.
Took me a second.
Nice. I have missed everybody.
See,
Legitimately.
this would have been another perfect time for the bugle clip I was talking about.
Look at how many people here love you.
I appreciate the love. A lot of you reached out to Twitter and on the Instas, and I appreciate it. It's been a weird couple of months, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe that 2.5 months went by so fast.
Are you serious? It's been 2.5 months?
It's I went down in the middle of April.
Oh my
The
Yikes.
So I won't bore everybody with the super long story, but so if you watch the show and you notice I kept falling asleep, apparently I've been suffering from AFib for a super duper long time. And just as a weird, I guess, holdover from a fight I had with COVID a couple years ago, I now have this super bizarre inflammatory response where when one thing goes wrong, my entire body's like, it's like, I'm giving it all she's got. But like, it's just like, nope, just some stardust, bud. Nope. We're gonna blow. Nope, just some mild inconvenience. We're okay. So yeah, so like at the end of just before the last pro show I did. Okay, so we talked about the colonoscopy and that last pro show. Out of nowhere. Yeah.
Interesting statement, but okay.
Out of nowhere, I started getting super duper bloated, started gaining a crap ton of weight. Like we looked at it, it was 35 pounds in 3 weeks, which is not something people do. So I
you've never had turducken.
It's like, well, I was saying is like I went from normal thick boy summer to fat Thor mode. And then I was like, I can't function. And then I woke up on a random Sunday and I thought I was making perfect sense, but apparently I was speaking in Mars Attacks Alien and was just wandering and falling all over the place. And then my wife was like, hey, we're gonna go to the hospital. You should go get dressed. I remember walking to her car, and then I remember waking up in the hospital. And then every time I closed my eyes, another 2 hours had gone by. And then the doctor was like, we're going to start giving you lots of medicine because even though you're just laying here, your resting heart rate is above 220. Yeah, 2 months later. But I'm finally starting to feel a little bit better. The bloating went away, so I don't have like my neck was like here. It looked like I had I had all of a sudden grown a random neck goiter. I look like what's his name? What's Big Face's name? I'm brain farting right now.
Big Face?
The actor with the giant face.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name, but I know
Wings
who you're
Hauser?
talking about.
I can't think of his name. Oh god.
He just passed away not that long ago, right?
Did
Robert Zadar.
Yeah, Zadar, thank you. Yes, I look like Robert Zadar.
I wanted to say Adrian Zemed, and I knew that wasn't it.
The guy from TJ Hooker?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Sorry, Adrian Zemed, wherever you are. I knew it wasn't you.
I don't know who this guy is, but yeah, he's got a face all right.
Well, had, I suppose. Or maybe it was just posted recently that he... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just remember this man coming up as discussion not that long ago.
Oh, he does pop up often.
Oh yeah, Kevin and I have talked about it before on streams.
Yeah, that is...
He looks like he was a donor chin for Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, he had a condition called like cherubism or something like that.
Oh, that's such a cheerful little name for it.
Yeah.
We don't want people to feel bad about it. We'll say they look like cherubs.
They're cherubic.
So the gist of the thing, folks, is that this was serious, and this is why we were being so careful about Kevin coming back, is that his body was incredibly stressed, and we had to make sure that he's getting rest and recuperating, and that all of his systems were actually balancing out, because it was like a chain reaction of stuff. So
yeah, so I'm beta testing my stamina. It was a fight to make sure I stayed awake, and then I had to handle a quick work call before I was able to jump on. I'm like having the conversation and watching the time melt away, and then I jumped into our team chat and saw a picture of Commando and other stuff. Like, what are we talking about? What have I been missing? I just
Well,
watched Mando last week.
Well, I put that in there in our review, actually.
this is the first time that we have done a cinema of the 80s since you left, because we've been holding them for you. And so we scheduled this thinking that you were going to be here. But I want you to know Martin's got a whole bunch of movies that I suspect he put in there because of you. So when we get to that, I'm sure you'll recognize a bunch.
You know, I've got a couple that you definitely would have picked.
We do have a couple super chats that came in. We got Spring 91 Bear for 250 saying, "You look good, Kevin."
Thanks.
And we got another 50 from Solstice Studios again. Once again, incredibly generous, saying, "Welcome back, Kevin. Good to see you."
My peoples, I feel the loves.
Yeah, people have been looking forward to you being back for a long time. We're constantly hearing, "How are you doing?" And so I know you've made a lot of people's nights tonight.
Polite questions as to where you were.
I was very tempted and didn't have, I had the thought entirely too late in the evening. I was super tempted to go out and buy makeup and show up on here looking like I Sammy Sosa'd myself.
Oh, I wish you would have thought of that sooner.
It was really the difference of, oh, I should have thought of this 90 minutes ago.
Fake Asian Wizard Black Jonas for $1.99 says, "Welcome back."
Incredible.
Let's see here. Good to see you haven't lost your sense of humor. And also, not been the same without your terrible movie picks.
What do you mean terrible? Those picks are incredible.
My movie picks are spirited and amazing.
So, since you're back, I'm going to let you pick the next story that we cover.
Ooh.
We got a few here. We're only going to be able to get to one, I think. Deadline claims Supergirl needs $315 million to break even at the box office. Bond is like folklore, says screenwriter Stephen Knight. Epic Universe's new permits may show new Dark Universe attraction coming. Supergirl box office set to open far below The Mandalorian and Grogu, or The Mandalorian drop gets worse. What do you want?
Oof. Oh my goodness. The Bond?
You got it.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right, here we go. Bond is like folklore, says screenwriter Stephen Knight. While the world waits to see what Amazon does with James Bond in its first movie since acquiring the rights to the legendary character, the film's screenwriter, Stephen Knight, has said that he's been given free rein to do what he wants with Ian Fleming's Spy, likening James Bond to folklore. In an interview with Screen Daily, Stephen Knight said he has been studying the SAS and even more secret outfits, and asking members of those services what they do every day to give 007 a sense of realism, something he likens to author Ian Fleming's career, noting that Fleming was living that life, doing those things. And he's correct. Ian Fleming was recruited into the British Royal Navy in World War II, serving under Rear Admiral John Godfrey. Fleming's service influenced his creation of James Bond, who was a former commander in the Royal Navy, while the head of British intelligence, M, was heavily based on Godfrey. M's real name is Sir Miles Messervy, a vice admiral in the Navy. However, it sounds like Knight may change this aspect of Bond's history if he's talking to the SAS. He invokes Fleming again by saying that Bond's creator was such a great writer, and that a great writer has to know about people. But is Knight interviewing naval officers, or is he sticking to special forces and secret outfits? Of course, this isn't conclusive evidence that Knight is changing James Bond's background, but his focus on the SAS does instill doubt in those hoping for a more faithful version of 007 than they may get from Knight and Amazon. Fans may have had this fear since Amazon's acquisition of the franchise was announced, but the interview makes the writer's intentions clearer by saying Stephen Knight believed he had a license to reinvent James Bond, and Knight defends this notion by calling 007 bulletproof and folklore. By this, Knight means that there have been mistakes and variations, quite elaborate variations, made by past screenwriters, directors, and producers, but that Bond has endured due to his mythical status. Is Knight admitting that he's about to change James Bond, or does he regard these past mistakes, which he doesn't name, as something to avoid? Until we see the film, or at least a trailer, it's hard to say. But the idea of changing James Bond has become something those making James Bond entertainment have become more comfortable with lately. Daniel Craig's reboot made the character sharply different from his cinematic history and his literary roots, by producer Barbara Broccoli's admission. And the IO Interactive cinematic director said that the new Bond game, 007 First Light, would reflect modern values. The studio behind Rings of Power forcing still more changes onto James Bond is not difficult to believe. However, we may at least have a sense of which version of the character Stephen Knight will use as a model when he adds to the James Bond folklore. Asked about who his favorite James Bond actor is, Knight answered, "It was always Connery," mentioning Bond's certainty, confidence, escape from something, as part of the 007 persona that everybody wants. When it comes to James Bond, especially on the screen, you can't get more old school than Sean Connery, and his Bond embodied all the traits modern stewards loathe about the character. Is Knight's apprehension for Sean Connery legitimate hope that the old 007 will be back, or is it just a mirage? The anticipation is unbearable for Bond fans.
I am a Bond fan. I've read the books and I've seen all the movies. I like them a lot. If I'm remembering this right, the only time they've explicitly even mentioned the SAS was in Casino Royale, the movie from 2006. And Vesper Lynd says something about the service recruiting SAS types who wear expensive watches. Other than that, we know that James Bond is a commander in the Royal Navy. So, maybe special boat service instead of SAS, so SBS. We know a lot of stuff about James Bond, but we don't, from the books, know the details of his service history, other than in the books he killed 2 people to get the 00 rating. One of them was, I think, a Japanese stockbroker in New York, and I can't remember what the other one was, but I think the Japanese guy was second. But we don't really only get glimpses into that stuff. So I have no problem with a guy researching the British special forces to bring some light to what the character is. But in the books, James Bond himself describes himself as a glorified security man who does maybe 2 special missions a year.
Yeah, I don't think you can say better than Martin. I don't mind them looking back and doing a little bit of a deeper dive into what his service history was, as long as we're not using it as an excuse to do some kind of weird end around deconstruction of the character. I didn't mind Daniel Craig being a little more rough and tumble than Pierce was, but then we just freaking, as far as I'm concerned, just drove the character off the cliff. In the last in the last 2 movies. So it's like there's no need to have to reinvent Bond. Just let him be what he is. I think the bigger struggle is what is intriguing about Bond is telling these stories in an actual real world, in a real world setting. So I don't want to have to sit through yet another movie of evil Russians because left decided that we needed to have problems with Russians again once they became inconvenient to not want to bully. Like the world has actual other issues. Like, hey, give me a story about a Chinese national being up to some shenanigans, or I know we're not allowed to, but maybe we tell a story about a fellow from the Middle East. It's like let's let Bond deal with international issues and have some fun.
I'm going to bring up something controversial that's going to get me in a lot of trouble. And part of this is because I'm not a devoted Bond fan. There are some Bond movies that I like. I actually really liked the Daniel Craig Bond, but I only watched the first 3, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall, and then I stopped after that.
It's okay.
Because you mentioned a Chinese national as the villain, how would you... they'd never do this. I know they wouldn't do this, but what if you actually did a period Bond piece where you went back to the 60s and remade Dr. No?
I wouldn't want them to remake Dr. No, but a period piece that I'd be happy with.
See, what I'd like about it is that you'd be bringing back that classic Bond architecture from the Connery era, which is just a fantastic design.
Suits.
Oh, and the big cavern environments and the 60s modern, that we're talking about, because it's so striking, and I think it would be beautiful on the big screen. And since the Chinese are our acceptable geopolitical opponent in today's environment, you could get away with it. And so if you did a more realistic version of Dr. No, I'd totally be into that. I don't think they would ever do it, but if you were going to play it straight, like Craig's Bond, instead, what always annoyed me about Bond is I hated the gadgets, I hated the one-liners are fine, but when you get to Roger Moore territory, it's way too much for me.
It becomes self-aware during the Roger Moore era. But I think that From Russia with Love is legitimately one of the best espionage movies ever made. Not just one of the best Bond movies, but espionage as a genre.
Now, Donovan's saying out there that Timothy Dalton films were pretty set in reality and closer to the books. I never saw them. I always wanted to because I like Timothy Dalton.
Dalton is basically lifted from the books.
Yeah.
And there's a moment in Living Daylights that I think really encapsulates it, because everybody focuses on James Bond's charm, but that's a mask that he wears when it's necessary. There are times where he's practically a sociopath just because of his career. Yep. And there's this moment where he's taken Olivia Diabo's character to like a fair, and he's just being as charming as possible. And then the second she turns her back, that's wiped off his face, and the stone killer's there again.
This is in which one?
Living Daylights.
Yeah.
And who was that? Who was Bond on that one?
Timothy Dalton.
Was that Timothy Dalton? Okay.
Yeah,
and the other one he did was License to Kill, right?
Yes.
And he only did two?
He only did two.
They got into a rights issue. Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, they got into a rights issue that tied things up for about 5 years, and by then Timothy Dalton thought he was too old to play James Bond, which is we didn't get him for longer because he was sort of soft offered it during the Moore era, and he said, I'm too young to play him because James Bond should be a guy in his mid-30s.
Yep.
And so he delayed. They got the announcement that it was going to be Pierce Brosnan. Then NBC messed up Pierce Brosnan's chance. We get Timothy Dalton for a couple of movies, which probably worked out better for Pierce Brosnan. But then there's a rights issue that gets everything tied up, and we never get a Timothy Dalton Bond dealing with the collapse of the Soviet Union, and that would have been a really interesting story.
Yeah. There were elements of, I think, what they wanted to do with Dalton's final movie that got sprinkled into which one was it?
Goldeneye?
Oh yeah, Goldeneye.
I think I remember hearing that statue graveyard scene was lifted from the script for Dalton's.
But yeah, I always said Dalton was the prototype for or I should say the foundation for Daniel Craig's Bond. And again, I don't mind Bond being a little more rough and tumble, but you've got to be willing to, I think the character works when you let him be charming. I always get, because Sean Connery's Bond is ruthless. He just he's just not a nice man. He's a charming man, but he's not a nice man. And I'm like, we need to be okay with letting characters be kind of fun, free, and maybe a little devious again. He is a man motivated strictly by his mission. He wants to get in, he wants to get out, and he's going to do it by any means possible. Let that be a thing again.
What you're talking about is he needs to be a dangerous man.
Yes. Yes.
We've gotten to a point where you try and soften the rough edges out of all of the masculine characters these days. They have to be all bound up in their feelings. And that's not to say that Bond doesn't deal with things like PTSD, but you shove that away when it's part of the job. He has to be a dangerous man first and foremost, and he can't apologize for it because it's for king and country.
And yet, I do agree with the chat. We all know that at a certain point in time, Cavill would have been brilliant for it, especially after you see what movie am I thinking of, Trish, with the People Eater?
Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Thank you, Man from U.N.C.L.E.
People Eater. Army Hammer.
Sorry, I think Cavill has great potential to kind of channel that dangerous man energy.
He's only 43.
I know.
Too old to play Bond.
Yeah. How old was Daniel Craig?
Older than that.
Yeah.
But that's actually part of the problem that developed with Bond. Daniel Craig wanted to stretch as an actor, but he wanted to do that while playing Bond. And so you started to get, and I think Barbara Broccoli and her stepbrother also wanted to do this and give Bond an end story where he kind of reconciles his life and he becomes a better man. And that's just not what people want out of Bond. People want Bond to be a lodestone that it just never changes and always points north.
Mm-hmm.
So let me throw this out there, because they've got that game out right now, First Light. And when they announced it, I actually got really excited about it, because this looked to me like you're doing young Bond before he's really in the role. It's kind of like how they started off with Daniel Craig. From what I understood, it sounded like they were trying to lean more faithfully to the books. But then I started reading all of this stuff that was sounding like they were doing what they typically do in subverting the audience's expectations. But I hear that Marv is playing the game, and I know Fake Wiz is as well, but Marv was telling me he's having a great time with it so far, which surprised me based on some of the stuff I heard. So I guess what I would ask is, as the Bond fan on the panel, would you prefer that they did a young, green James Bond starting off like they are in 007, or would you rather have an already established, deadly James Bond who knows the ropes and is just a smooth operator?
I am of the mindset of I don't ever need to see someone's rookie days. Like I'm over it with Batman. I don't ever want to see another rookie Batman or Superman or Spider-Man again. I want to jump in and have them be competent and at their prime, at their peak, doing what they do best, because they're the main event, and I want to see a main eventer be a main eventer. You can flash back to a moment in time and give us little glimpses of it, but I don't want entire stories dedicated to it. I don't see it. Even when we jump on what Connery, like he's already on the go. So I'm like, just put us in there and give us some stakes that are really fun. My biggest complaint about the Daniel Craig era, and I absolutely love Skyfall and Casino Royale, but they weren't fun for me. And I think part of the danger and what works with Bond is that his danger is fun, and they lost sight of that. So I'm like, just give me something that is fun and entertaining, grounded but also fantastical. I laugh. My dad used to work with someone on one of his executive protection details, and she was in the military, and she was tasked with hunting down weapons that people should not have. And she would always go, people think that...
What sort of weapons could that possibly be?
She always goes, people think that those weapons that you aren't supposed to have are like the giant James Bond missiles, and really there's something that's the size of a small bag.
You can assemble that stuff in a garage.
Yeah. So she's like, everybody thinks we're going into these fun, deep silos. And sure, that's what it was in the 60s and 70s. but now we're going into some guy's basement, or a spider hole. And you just talked about how just talked about how, like, when they make these Bond movies, and that was actually her big thing, was whenever I watch James Bond movies, because I've done this, she's like, I kind of wish that we did get the fun big silos and the big secret agent man shootouts. And I think part of the problem too, especially with the Daniel Craig era, is that they were too hyper aware that Austin Powers was successful and wanted to get away from it, without understanding that Austin Powers works because James Bond works, and that Austin Powers is allowing you to laugh at the thing that we love, so that you can go do the thing that you love in a regular movie and don't have to worry about someone going, well, this isn't real like that.
Yeah, and Austin Powers also works because it's a love letter to 60s Bond. And really all that espionage stuff. He's kind of doing a Harry Palmer impression as well, which is why we get Michael Caine that comes in later. But yeah, that revisiting old times for these movies, it always sounds good, but you can't go back to not knowing what we know now. And so it always ends up either being tongue-in-cheek or a reconstruction or a deconstruction. Like, here's some kind of extreme-ish examples, but when you go look at period pieces with like Cavalier kind of stuff, the Three Musketeers and things like that, you can always tell the era they're made in from the haircuts of the people in the movie. And so, like, you get Disney's James Bond, and it's all like very 90s puffy sorts of long hair for the men. But then you go back and you watch the Three Musketeers with what is his name? The guy who was such a great dancer is in Singing in the Rain. Gene Kelly.
Oh,
Gene Kelly did a great Three Musketeers movie, and it is also clearly a movie of its time. You can tell from what they choose to focus on.
I even enjoyed the at least for a little bit. It lost me after a while, but I enjoyed the BBC modern Three Musketeers TV show with Peter Capaldi.
Is that the one where they justified the race swaps by pointing out that Dumas is himself a quarter black?
Yes.
Which is all well and good, but you would think a guy who is a quarter black, if he wanted black people in his book, he would have said, "Oh, and by the way, this guy's black."
I'm like, all right,
but hey, if it's cool, run with it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, if also too, sometimes I do miss the ability to kind of just go with the best actor thing, but they kind of ruin that by pushing this out approach, which is why I'm loving this the absurdity of Nolan's The Odyssey. And I feel so ignored by my constantly screaming, why are the Sicilians walking around in armor that shouldn't exist for another 500 years?
Did you see this? This is a story that came out today that Lupita, how do we say her name? Nyong'o. She's Yale educated. I assume the fine arts program, and was unaware of the Odyssey.
I'm not shocked.
I'm not either. Again, we've been hearing this stuff out of the Ivy League forever, but a person who went to community college and has a library card is better educated than people coming out of Yale.
I'm wondering if she's saying that in interviews to try and give cover to the production, because I have a hard time believing that she was not familiar with the Odyssey.
Well, I can believe it because I remember seeing articles a decade and more ago about people getting through Ivy League English programs without reading Shakespeare. People graduating with masters of English and having never read the greats of the English language. They've been reading selections that are in English of things that the professors have themselves. Like, okay, so a lot of higher education is driven by the professor wants to become or wants to do groundbreaking research. All the great research has already been done on Wilde and Chaucer and Shakespeare, so they're going to pick somebody else. That's who they know. That's what they're teaching. And so you don't really get experts on Shakespeare at the Ivies anymore. You get them at state schools.
Guys, I hate to derail this from the conversation, but we probably should get into the main topic.
That's true.
Which is our top, well, I won't say top movies.
Yeah.
Movies from 1985.
Get us in trouble.
Worthy of
otherwise.
discussion.
And we're going to start with Martin's list, which begins with...
This is partly here. It's here because it's one of my wife's favorite movies, but also because Tim Curry as the devil is magnetic. He plays this so well.
Yes. I did I just send you clips of this like 2 weeks ago, Trish?
Yeah, I think you did.
I've never actually seen this movie. Is it worth watching?
Yeah, I would watch it. Ridley Scott borrows from this movie to construct his Decker's a replicant in the director's edition of Blade Runner.
That's an interesting pull. Okay.
Yeah, so you know how that other detective leaves those origami characters, and one of them
James
is
Olmos, yeah.
James Olmos, and one of them is a unicorn. Well, Ridley Scott pulls the unicorn scene from this movie and puts it in Deckard having a dream. And so, is he a replicant? No, he's not. He's clearly not from the original movie.
Next up.
So this was, what's that?
I was like, oh, old people going on outer space vacation.
Yeah, this was from an era of filmmaking where things would be huge hits and not be driven by blue skylights and massive explosions. Like, you just don't get big hits out of this or Rain Man or anything like that again. In fact, it may have gotten it since then, but just a couple of years ago, there was no Blu-ray release of Cocoon.
Yeah,
because who was going to buy that? All the old people who they thought would watch it barely have DVD players, so there was no high resolution scan out there of this movie. But it's charming, and it's got a lot of old actors in it who, were still great, but just not getting a lot of work. Guys like Don Amici. Then you have Wilford Brimley, who's actually only in his 50s, playing a retiree.
Mm-hmm.
But he does it so well. Oh, and what's his name? Mahone from the Police Academy movies. Steve Guttenberg.
Steve Guttenberg, yes.
Yeah.
I enjoy seeing whenever randomly pops up in your Instagram or Twitter, people talk about how Paul Rudd was older than Wilford Brimley when he was in Cocoon.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, and somebody on X was doing the Wilford Brimley line. How old Wilford Brimley was while they were shooting Cocoon, and when you pass that line, the congratulations Tom Cruise on passing the Wilford Brimley line. People hold up better than they used to, and on top of that, Wilford Brimley lived a rough life before that. He got into Hollywood as a farrier and blacksmith in the cowboy days.
I was just saying that about how people look in the chat about Henry Cavill as James Bond. I was like, people in their 40s today look better than people in their 40s from decades ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see pictures of kids in high school, their senior year, and they already look like they're in their 40s. I'm like, what the hell? I understand the 70s were rough, but what the hell was in your water?
But, you don't want a James Bond who's taking ibuprofen with his gin and tonic.
I love how a guy our age, we're like, yeah, like 1 foot in the grave,
I need 2 baby aspirin if I'm going to start this run.
All right, so Silverado. Have any of you guys seen this movie?
I love this movie. I just rewatched this about 6 months ago.
This is
I
one
have
of the great
seen-
westerns of the 80s.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but only small snippets. I've never actually been able to see the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. It handles the sodbuster versus cattleman stuff really well. I actually think it handles race stuff really well with Danny Glover as this skilled guy whose family's being run off. Maybe they're doing it with extra vitriol because of his race, but they're running him off because they're farmers and not cattlemen. And Kevin Costner is really great in it as this ADHD riddled man-child. I very much recommend this movie. Kevin Kline. It's hard to say exactly who is the lead. I guess it's Scott Glenn, but Kevin Kline steals a fair number of scenes from him.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
That's always been, I think, part of the reason why I have not specifically sought the movie out to watch, because Kevin Kline in the Western just reads wrong to me.
Well, he's the gambling rogue character. He's not. He fits there. Although, for me, he'll always be the Pirate King.
He's not as much of a dandy as you think when watching the movie.
Right.
Not this one.
I
Yes.
love when we talk about this movie.
Ugh.
This movie is absolutely insane. So,
Just read the tagline. It tells you all you need to know.
a new kind of martial arts combat, the skill of gymnastics, the kill of karate.
The kill of karate.
So, Kurt Thomas is a legitimate, talented gymnast. And this is from the era where they thought, we can take people with odd skills and build entire movies around them. And this movie attempted that. But he's a guy who could do a standing flip and 180 turn. And so they build that into a scene for some reason. And then he'll be running around not Kazakhstan. I don't even remember what the name of the place was. But he'll be running around these ancient cities, and suddenly there are parallel bars that are easily grabbable. And then there's a fight he has to have with a crowd of lepers. And wouldn't you know, there's
What?
a thing that's shaped like a pommel horse.
Wait a minute. Whoa. He has a fight with a crowd of lepers?
My favorite part in this scene is that you see him run past the pommel horse, because they have to establish that it's just in the town and just not randomly there. And then all of a sudden, not even 3 minutes later, he makes his way back
in it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so that he can use it.
I just want to clarify here, because this was the conceit of this movie was that it was a martial art that was based on gymnastics. Is
Yes.
there a chance that there was a misprint in the script and this was supposed to be a bunch of leapers and somebody dropped a vowel and it became a very different movie?
Isn't that how we got Master Sifo-Dyas out of...
That is how we got Master Sifo-Dyas, yes. Sometimes adjustments have to be made.
I don't feel like reprinting the script. It's a new character.
I knew nothing about the lepers. I've watched the trailer for this thing, and it actually made me morbidly curious. But
My favorite detail about this movie is that every visitor to this country has to participate in this deadly trial, and if they win, they get whatever they ask for. Every visitor. They make that clear.
okay.
Rambo First Blood Part 2.
The title alone is as 80s as it gets.
Yes. So the first movie is First Blood. It is not Rambo. And in 1985, it was decided that we needed Vietnam Round 2, and we would just send one guy. And you know what? That was enough.
It was. Always.
And accompanying him is a Vietnamese woman who's clearly from like Cleveland or something.
And probably not Vietnamese.
Right. No, she's definitely not. And then you get one of the great screams of pain in all of history when she dies. Birds fly out of the tree hammock. It's some of Stallone's best work.
Yes. Do you know what this movie was supposed to be?
No.
So originally, this was written as I think as a duo. He was supposed to be John Travolta was supposed to be his co-star, and they and like it starts like super dark. Rambo is not just in the prison; he's like locked up in this cell, like Hannibal Lecter style, and then John Travolta plays the quirky comedic sidekick, and they have to go on this mission together. And the only reason it didn't happen was because Travolta had some kind of weird conflict, and because he couldn't do the movie when they needed to start it, they rewrote it and were like, you know what, this is gonna work out better this way. Let's just move forward. But yeah, they wanted this to be a duo action film, two guys going back, and Travolta was gonna play someone slightly quirky. And after seeing Face Off, I do think that I would like to visit the Earth where Rambo 2 features John Travolta, because it's probably Rambo TOO, or First Blood TOO.
I don't know what to say other than, was Troutman going to be replaced by Mr. Carter? Welcome back, guys.
I would just say that because Travolta was not the sidekick in this, that the franchise managed to stay alive. The
That's
next
probably
Stallone movie.
Boo.
What Rocky IV? Where Rocky
No.
punches communism to death?
That's right.
There was kind of a theme going on, in case the audience hasn't picked that up yet. It was this 1985 was the year of America.
That's right. We're back, baby.
Not only are we back, we're taking it all on. And we're gonna win.
And
have you seen the director's cut that came out a few years ago?
No, I wanted to.
I highly recommend it.
So I watched it a couple of days ago. Kevin, since you've seen it, I liked it quite a bit, but I do have to wonder, would I have understood the movie if I hadn't seen the original?
Oh, that is a good question.
They must have changed it pretty dramatically then.
Well, there's not Rocky and his weird relationship with there's not weird relationship with the robot. So that's a plus.
Happy birthday, Tommy.
But yeah, they change it a lot. There's a composer named Max Richter who has done recompositions of things like Vivaldi's Four Seasons. But you don't really get Richter's compositions unless you already have the knowledge of the original Vivaldi's Four Seasons. Like the interplay between the original text and what you hear Richter writing is what informs the entire piece. In the same way, the director's cut re-edit of Rocky IV, I'm not sure is really a complete picture as a movie, as much as it's almost a highlight reel.
He tried to fix, or maybe I say he tries to recontextualize the movie a little bit, and tries to undo some of the, which is really my favorite thing about watching Rocky IV, is that it's just really a glorified montage film and then a fight. He's like, so he tries to ease the jarring of, we opened in the montage, we trained in a montage, we
have the sadness montage.
Yeah, we have the sadness montage, and then you wait 5 minutes, and now you've got the training montage again. It's I don't know. As a child, I would not have enjoyed it as much as I did. but it was I definitely recommend it. It is a very solid effort, and it makes me wonder if someone had given Stallone even more money and he was able to pull a Lucas and probably use AI to redo a few things, would he have done it? Because clearly he has a little bit more to say. And he put a lot of effort. I think he re-edited this movie.
That's what I understand, yeah.
For
and he put back in the like
project.
Apollo's grave the graveside service, which was pretty much taken out of the theatrical release.
Next up, continuing the theme.
So let me tell you a little bit about Canon Films. They made movies on the cheap. And they heard that a town was going to have their mall destroyed and to make way for new construction. And so they built a movie around this mall's being destroyed. That's going to be the cornerstone of our action piece at the end. How do we do that? And the answer is Chuck Norris repels a bunch of invaders. And it's genius.
Mm-hmm. I rewatched this a couple of years ago and was like, I'm embarrassed that I loved this movie as a child, because I'm like, this is awful. But it's so awful, it's genius. And then the movie just stops. Chuck Norris shoots the bad guy with a rocket. Was it a bazooka or a rocket launcher? I don't remember. And then the movie just stops. And I'm like, I can't believe I watched this. But I if you've never endured this, if I would say, if I had not had the day I had and was aware that it was going to be a 1985 day, if Martin was not here, I would have put this movie on and been prepared to give you a spirited review of why I love to hate this movie.
I watched this movie. I watched this movie years ago. It was on USA a lot. My friends and I still, when we pass each other, we'll go, "Doctor, doctor." Dan Aykroyd plays this savant codebreaker who works in the basement of the Pentagon, and Chevy Chase plays this con man who works in the State Department. And they both go to sit for an exam to accelerate them to the next level of government service. Chevy Chase's character has not studied at all. Dan Aykroyd's character doesn't even really need to study, but he wasn't informed by his boss that he was going to get to sit for it until like late the night before. So Chevy Chase's character is attempting to cheat in the test. Dan Aykroyd's character gets into the hijinks, and the government needs a couple of stooges to run cover for the actual spies who are going to be doing a job. And so they hire these two morons. And over the course of this, it's basically a road movie with an espionage cover. But it's really, it's a great example of Dan Aykroyd and his writing style before it kind of got super weird. And Chevy Chase is still charming. He's not really like a curmudgeon yet, but highly recommend. American Ninja was supposed to be a Chuck Norris movie.
Did you see how Kevin's face lit up?
I did.
Kevin, you want to run with
seeing
this?
This is another one of those. I just love bad movies. That this movie is just very unabashed. This is, and I don't understand why Michael Dudikoff was not a bigger star, other than he had terrible script selection. But so we're gonna take a maverick, a renegade, and he happens to be an American who's a ninja. And we're going to drop him off on
an orphan without an identity.
Oh, that's right. And he's an orphan because it was the 80s. Because in the 80s, we loved quicksand, orphans, and ninjas. And growing up, and amnesia. And growing up in the 80s, I thought that ninjas and quicksand were going to be a far more hazardous event than they have actually turned out to be. So like ninjas show up to kidnap someone's daughter, and the Maverick shows up, and then there's a fight, and it is a mess, but it's a beautiful mess. And they made 4 of these.
I think 5.
Or maybe all right, that's right. Because that's right. Because the 4th one is Pat Morita, and then the 5th one is Dudikoff comes back. And unfortunately, what's his name had passed away at that point, so he doesn't. Oh gosh, but yeah, this has got so much karate and so much under overacting. It's the best way I can describe it. Is that we are?
Yeah, Dudikoff is trying to channel James Dean.
It's so stupid. It's wonderful.
It's less stupid than the sequel, where for some reason these army guys get attached to a Marine unit that doesn't wear their uniforms.
Never. Oh, and there's super science in that one, because the ninjas, because all the Marines are getting kidnapped and turned into super ninjas, and they all wind up getting their butts kicked anyway, even though they have superpowers. It's amazing.
It's kind of like the precursor to the Blanca storyline for Street Fighter that comes later.
Brother, this
Commando.
is one of my favorite movies on earth. I love this movie. I watch this movie 8 times a year.
So I just want to bring up, somewhere, somehow, someone's going to pay. It doesn't even mean that Arnie has been wronged in any way. There may possibly be nobody who's at fault for anything, but by God, Arnie's going to find this person and make them wish they hadn't.
Well, look, when somebody endangers Alyssa Milano, somebody has to die.
And it's going to be everybody. So, as we all know, we are well into the Sly Arnold rivalry. And Arnold was like, well, I want a movie like Rambo. So someone was like, well, we offered this to Stallone, and he said no to it. And he's like, good, I'm going to make it. And I have to kill more people than Stallone. And I want to chop a dude's arm off with a machete. And the studio was like, you are out of your bleeping mind. And because Arnold is Arnold, he still chops a dude's arm off with a machete. And
that wasn't planned by the studio and was not an effect.
and Eric and I tried to count one day just by using just basic law of averages. And I'm pretty sure we're supposed to believe that Arnold killed at least 200 people in this movie.
It has a real comic book sensibility to it in the best way possible.
I love that you did math to find out.
We did well because like at one point, so he goes. So what's his name? Tully. Was it Sully or Tully from Cheers? Carla's old husband plays like this Cuban-esque dictator. He may have been Middle Eastern. I don't remember. And
Cuban or Middle Eastern, one or the other.
It was the 80s. It could be both. He was some kind of general for some reason.
Was he a general or was he generalissimo?
and Arnold's old unit shows up and kidnaps. Oh, and Jesse Ventura was supposed to be in the movie and didn't want to get killed by Arnold, so he backed out at the last second. And then like Arnold, like the entire, it's just a chase. Arnold's trying to get to his daughter before a certain amount of time runs out, and then he gets to this island, and like it is a full blown like military compound. It would take Stallone almost like 30 years later to outdo Arnold in the first Expendables movie with him taking on an entire army. But
which I love, by the way.
the like soldiers are just pouring out of every surface on this small island, and all of a sudden Arnold has infinite ammo in this rocket launcher, and he's blowing up bunkers. And we're like, with the amount of people who ran out of those buildings, and the way I responded, we were like, there's 3 floors, there's got to be X amount of beds, X amount of soldiers ran out of that building, so there's got to be X amount of soldiers in that building, and he keeps blowing them up. But even after the building's blown up, people are still crawling out of them, so there were survivors who are still getting killed, which means there's probably this amount of people in there. And and we just kept rewinding, and yes, the tism kicked in hard that day. We kept rewinding and fast forwarding to try to get every person that was there, and we're like, we're just gonna start guesstimating. And yeah, there's probably 20 people in here and 40 people in there. And by the time it was all said and done, his kill count it turns into a video game at the end of this movie, and it's spectacular.
It's still not as high as Mark Hamill's.
All right. We are jumping now to Trish.
Woohoo, go me. Enough for something completely different. The Goonies. This is, it's funny because Marv says he doesn't like this movie, but he saw it when he was an adult. And I think that was the problem.
Oh, yeah, you can't. I mean, you can, but it doesn't resonate the same.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the same way, but I did not see it as an adult. I saw it as a kid, so I love the Goonies. Goonies never say die. And this is one of the first things I thought of when we got to 1985. Like, it's because I'm not really that great with knowing the years of movies, but I knew what year the Goonies came out.
I have a great appreciation for the fact that Donna refused to show the kids the ship, and the reaction that they have is genuine, because when we're seeing it, they're seeing it for the first time, and I'm like, that was a brilliant decision, knowing that you had children on set, and that there is nothing more genuine than the reaction of a child to seeing something spectacular for the first time.
It's like, it's a simple thing, but it was a brilliant thing to do. Just don't let them see it.
My mother will laugh her head off at Chunk being threatened by the Fratellis.
He's just crying.
It was the worst thing I ever done. So I went to the balcony of the movie theater.
And they're just looking at each other like, all right. I saw a really funny meme with Sloth. Like, making it. I sent it to Kevin. I said, like, you have to do this. Because it was like making my child watch all of my favorite movies. Oh,
which I do often.
I'm sure you do. I watched Teen Wolf more times than I can count. It's such a bizarre premise, where he like finds out he's got like the werewolf gene, and he still continues to go to high school, and he's on the basketball team, and absolutely no one is bothered by this.
Trish, if I had known you loved this movie so much, I would have sent you the guy's analysis of the basketball game.
Oh, yes, I would love to.
I have to find that.
I love Teen Wolf. It's just, and he's surfing on top of the van, and it's like, none of this is normal.
No, but I mean, honestly, it's sort of what would have been at the time the modern equivalent of the Shaggy Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's honestly just an 80s Disney movie.
It's so good. I never saw the second one with Jason Bateman, because why are we touching perfection? Leave the first one alone.
We could probably do an entire special on sequels that are TOO.
Yep. But I just realized that if this was made 10 years later, it would have been Shaggy Dog Extreme.
Oh, Shaggy would have spelled with a Z.
I mean, I
Somehow.
put like every other National Lampoon's movie on my list, so why not European Vacation? I figured, like, I don't really care about this one as much as the original or Christmas Vacation, but it's not like it's bad or anything like that. I think the most jarring thing is, isn't there a different daughter?
Well, the kids change in all of them.
Do they change in all of them?
Mm-hmm.
I think they do.
I think
Which is
in
odd.
Christmas Vacation, some of them go back to some of the original kids, don't they?
Yeah. I think Rusty goes back, and don't they
This
make?
is why it's confusing.
Don't they make the
The
don't they
wife
make
too
the
is.
No, the wife is the same in
Yeah,
Oh,
Beverly.
is she? I thought that she changed in one of them.
Oh gosh, I thought they make the joke that they made in Roseanne when they asked Becky where she's been.
They might. They're obviously completely different kids when it comes to Vegas Vacation later.
Because that one came out considerably later, all like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Because these were all like the 80s, and then didn't Vegas Vacation come out in like the late 90s?
90s, yeah.
Yeah.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's so unfortunate that the requel didn't do as well as it should have, because it had flashes of brilliance, but was in that weird, like, it's almost like they forgot how to write comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Where like it's just so slow. Like nothing's happening here, nothing's making me laugh, and then something hysterical would happen. But the idea of Rusty taking over the Griswold family desire to have to go on a vacation was very entertaining.
I'm not gonna lie. About 50% of the reason I put this on my list is because I am almost positive Martin would hate this movie.
The passion does burn deep, yeah.
Yeah, see, because I was going through the list and I was just like, oh, Brad Pack movie, and I've seen it. It's been a while, but what I remember of it, I was just like thinking about it. And I was just like, there's no way Martin doesn't hate this movie.
The song's fine.
Like I was 99.99% sure Martin would say he hated it. That is the biggest and that it's a Brad Pack movie is like the main reasons I put this on here.
I don't remember this movie at all outside of knowing that I saw it, but saw it entirely too young. Probably potentially at an age where I had no business seeing it.
I think I did too, and weirdly, it was in a class in high school, but it was like freshman year high school. I don't know why we watched it. All I remember is Demi Moore trying to freeze herself in the apartment. That's like the biggest thing that I remember in the movie.
Well, so it's a bunch of graduates of a prestigious university who were all pretty well off, scared about their futures. You're going to be fine.
I mean, it's fine. I didn't know. And the other 50% was because it was a perfect segue into this movie, which is actually enjoyable. And it's The Breakfast Club. I mean, I would be shocked if anyone on this panel and anyone in this chat has not seen this movie. I feel like this is just one of those movies. Like, you've seen it. You've seen it. Right?
Yeah.
None of you are going to shock me about, well, I maybe don't know about Lorn sometimes if he's seen something or not at this point.
I've seen it.
Okay. This movie forever changed how I think of the word ruckus. I can't hear someone say ruckus without going, could you please describe the ruckus, sir? Every single time. It's not my favorite because that honor goes to Pretty in Pink, but I do love this movie. And it's incredible how it's very 80s, but at the same time, you could show this to a high schooler today and they're going to get everything out of it that we all did. So even though visually and the soundtrack is like very 80s, the story itself is really rather timeless. And I just love this movie. I'm not very good at explaining the movies themselves, but just a bunch of kids in detention one Saturday. And the hijinks there, and also Ali Sheedy was prettier before the makeover.
Yes.
I choose to believe that Carl the janitor didn't just peak in high school and stayed there and became the janitor, but instead it's one of those "you've always been here, sir" sort of The Shining things, where he's stuck there.
Before we go to the next movie,
Mm-hmm.
did anybody pick The Last Dragon?
Yes, but he's not here. I actually left that one for you.
Oh,
A Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Kevin.
Just stop. We'll get there.
Kevin.
Just quit jumping the queue.
I'm a little offended, Kevin. I'm just gonna say. Do you not know me?
I'm sorry, and just one of the guys.
I almost
Don't
put
have
that
that
on mine. I almost put that one on mine. Almost, but I didn't really remember too much of it, so I was like, yeah, maybe I'll leave this one off so I don't sound just like crickets when it comes up.
Just one of the guys has the greatest reveal in movie history.
Better Off Dead, however, is fantastic. It is somehow like an 80s teen movie, but then also this absurdist, surrealist,
Shame on people
dark
throwing away a perfectly good white boy.
I want my $2. I remember reading that John Cusack for like the longest time hated it, and like went up to the director, writer, whoever, and was just like, "This is terrible. I'm never working with you again." Like he just hated. I guess he's softened on it as he's gotten like distance and gotten older, and he's just like, "I'm glad that there are people who love it." I don't think he likes it still, but I think he can appreciate that other people appreciate it. Whereas I think he thought no one would appreciate it. It is a very specific type of person to enjoy this because it is dark. John Cusack gets broken up with his girlfriend, and he keeps trying to end it all. It's like half-hearted though, and it always just like comedically happens.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably that bridge wasn't tall enough anyways, but falling into the dump truck is...
Yeah, or like in the garage with the door and the mom just keeps opening it while he's just like hanging there. And then there's, the very bizarre sequence in the burger joint with him envisioning bringing a little burger person to life, and Everybody Wants Some by Van Halen is playing. It's so... I was saying to Lorn that I was like so excited to talk about this one because it's such a like me movie because it's so random and weird, and it makes me so happy. Like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds running around in a top hat, snorting Jello. It's so bizarre. It's just such a bizarre movie.
What was Cusack's deal? Did you want it to be darker or something like that?
I'm thinking, honestly, maybe this is coming out of the mouth of someone who absolutely understands it and gets it. But I don't think he really got it. You know what I mean? I think his performance is really good. So I don't want to say, oh, he didn't get it and like he sucked in it and didn't put in any effort. It wasn't like that. I just think when he saw the finished project, he just wasn't getting it because, like I said, it's really specific. It's like I have one eye kind of on the chat, and I see about learning all your English from watching Howard Cosell. The running gag. It's just, and there's these running gags in it. Like, mind if I ask out Beth? It's just, and then the little brother doesn't say a word in it. And he's too busy building a rocket ship out of household items. in the bedroom, and then in the mid credits, the rocket ship, you see it take off. It's
It's
because
kind of a
again,
throwback to madcap comedies.
yeah, this is me liking those like offbeat cult classic-y kind of things again. But if nothing about what I just said sounds unappealing, watch it. And also, there's 2 people who were in Supernatural in it. Because I just watched it recently. I'm like, not only was Booger in it, but the tree trimmer was totally Rufus. And I was like, who knew that 2 people from Supernatural? Because I'm that person. I'm that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen. Like, I do that in real life with people who are in Supernatural, and I absolutely did that the most recent time I watched this movie. But yeah, Kevin, did you think I didn't put this one on my list either? Just break my heart questioning things.
Well, I thought you would have had to have made a Sophie's Choice.
Yeah. Now there's some non-negotiables, and I always pick a Friday the 13th movie, and I will always pick a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. This one's the weird one because it's not Jason. Spoiler, in case anyone's worried about the 41-year-old horror movie. Spoiler. And I think that that's very, very unappealing to people because it's just like this man who's just running around like he's Jason. And everyone thinks it, but it's not. And
I respect what they're trying to set up with it. It doesn't quite work. But
you had to know what happened, right? Mm-hmm. What had to have happened was they were like, Friday the 13th, part 4, the final chapter. That's it. This is over. And then the studios had to be like, yeah, no, these still make money. So you're going to make another one. And they were probably like, but we did this. So we got to do something else. And they tried this. And it was just like, no. But yeah. And Kevin.
This story of a man's struggle with his homosexuality.
I was just gonna say, let's dip a toe into the LGBT undertones in the movie, which are absolutely definitely on purpose there. Like the board games in his closet.
I remember. Before I watched the documentary on this, I hadn't watched this in forever, and then Trish gave me access to one of her things, one of the horror app, and I was like, "This is the gayest movie I've ever seen."
And you've seen The Birdcage.
Yes. I have seen Tu Wong Fu and a movie called Jeffrey. And she was like, "You need to watch this documentary." And I was like, "Oh wait, this really is one of the gayest movies I've ever seen."
It really is.
They did it on purpose.
It's like you say that, and people are like, "Oh, you're just being like, no, like literally, it's one of the gayest horror movies." Is this one of the gayest horror movies? Like,
it's one of the gayest movies you've ever seen. But it has one of the best Freddy kill moments too.
Which one?
Jumping out of the pool and just going to town.
This is the one where he says, "You're all my children now," right?
Yes.
You're all my children now.
Fire for no reason.
Witness, which in my way of not picking Harrison Ford's like biggest movies, I will pick Witness. This is also a Lorn pick because he was like, "Here's my list." I was like, "Lorn, I had this on mine," so we agreed to share it.
Nice.
But Lorn, you and I, we were saying about how it's not one that people talk about as much.
Right, and that's kind of why I wanted to include it on the list, is that it's been a long time since I've seen it. I have seen it multiple times, But what I love about it is that it's a pretty clever setup for a police procedural, and it's very competently made. It's got Harrison Ford playing this detective who kind of has to go undercover in an Amish community, and it's got Kelly McGillis playing an Amish woman before she looked like she ate Kelly McGillis. So
Lorn,
it's
Kevin, Lorn said this to me, and I said that was a very Kevin thing to say. So Kevin belly laughing, not shocking.
but it's like there's a few every once in a while Harrison does a movie where I feel like he's trying to do something serious and outside of his established roles, and a lot of times, unfortunately, those movies are boring. And this is one of those that I felt was not boring, and yet nobody ever talks about it. And I feel like this is a movie that kind of goes overlooked that shouldn't have. It's not bad. It's definitely worth a watch. It's not going to set your world on fire, but he doesn't usually play roles like this, and I thought he did a fine job in this one. So that's
So
why I like it.
what's your boring series, Harrison Ford? We're talking about like regarding Henry or
You want to tell me
dare you.
the Harrison Ford movie that I hate the most is the Mosquito Coast.
oh, nobody talks about that.
I hate the Mosquito Coast so much. um, and I'm gonna probably catch some flack for this. It's a good movie. I recognize it's a good movie, but it's not one of my favorites. Is The Fugitive. Um,
The hot
I know.
takes.
I heard the gasp. I think
I
Tommy
actually
Lee
don't
Jones.
care, but
I think Tommy Lee Jones is way better in it than he is. But anyway, this is one that I feel like kind of got unfairly memory hold, and if you haven't seen it, then it's definitely worth a watch.
meanwhile, it's won Oscars and was nominated for Best Picture. So it's odd to me that people don't remember it as much.
Well, this was back when popular movies could win Oscars.
Yeah. I think let me quickly look up. It said it won for Best Original Screenplay and Best Film Editing, and it was nominated for Best Picture and Best Actor. But like people don't remember it, which is odd to me.
Yep.
And this was the other one Lauren and I overlapped on that we are sharing and I know Martin.
I would have put this on there if you had grabbed it.
Because we've talked about this before in the brilliance of your theater not knowing which of I think it's like 3 endings that they made, and they just sent endings out and you got one of them and you didn't know what the other ones were until they started including it on the DVD.
Right.
So you can see all of them.
That part when he turns off the power to the entire house at the end and then turns it back on, that's the last reel. And that last reel contains the final clues for the mystery.
Oh.
That's how they did that.
It's a brilliant picture. It's a brilliant picture that is, honestly, whoever the casting director on this movie is, they deserved an Oscar because you could not have cast this movie any better. This is the first thing that I ever saw Tim Curry in. He is indelibly this character to me.
I bet so.
Martin Mull, Christopher Lloyd.
I was
going to say Madeline Kahn.
Madeline Kahn. I'm forgetting all of the names, but
Ellen.
And it was supposed to be Carrie Fisher, except
right,
she couldn't avoid cocaine.
Oh, that's right. Ellen, what's her name? I can't remember her name. I know
she was on. She was on Mission Impossible. Mrs. Scarlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that she couldn't avoid it. It was that all the executives were also on it and so didn't see a problem. Like the insurance company wouldn't insure her. And all the executives were like, what's the big deal?
Anyway, if you have not seen this movie, and understand, this is a movie based on a stupid board game. You know, it's like, but they
First
actually
of all,
took.
The board game is not stupid. I love Clue.
It's only stupid if you don't win.
You get what I mean, though, is that it's kind of like making a movie based on the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, you know?
I think we know who the killer is in Clue, and it's us as characters. It's clearly Lorn. Lorn's like, this game is stupid. We shouldn't play it.
If you think about how hard it was to crack video games, to do those correct video game movies correctly. Like, we didn't get a good one until Silent Hill. Board games are insane just trying to make a movie out of it. You get things like Battleship.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
that's what I mean, though, is that they actually took this seriously and they wrote a good. Forget the fact that it's a comedy for a minute. It's actually a decent mystery too.
Yeah, it's tightly paced. And it's a fair play mystery too.
Yeah.
Once that final clue is revealed, if you're quick and you assemble things, it does add up.
Also, shout out to Jane Whelan of the Go-Go's being the singing telegram girl.
Da-da-da-da-da.
I am your singing telegram. Bam. Yep.
I love the cop threatening to book them and murder. I just said it to get you to open the door.
Okay, we're gonna jump to mine, but we're gonna go through them pretty quick.
It was a great segue,
Because-
right, guys? The ones Lorn and I shared, and we just seamlessly go into Lorn's. It's
I'm
pretty smooth.
assuming no one picked Death Wish 3: The Crackdown.
So we got Pale Rider to start with, because anytime you get Clint Eastwood putting out a movie, it needs to be in your list. But also because it's got an interesting hook in the sense that you've got sort of calling the Pale Rider forth from Revelation when this miner threatens this town and kills this family and this girl's dog, and she prays for deliverance, and in comes this guy on a pale horse to wreak revenge on the entire town. And of course it's Clint Eastwood. I mean, with a hook like that, it should be watched. I don't think that it's one of his best, but it's Clint Eastwood in the Western, and you're not going to go wrong with it. So
I think for its faults, because of those faults, we get Unforgiven later.
yeah, I think that's fair. And he sat on Unforgiven for a good long time, so that he could be the proper age for it. But I still like it. I had to put it on the list because it's Clint, and I'm not going to have it on there.
It's your Friday the 13th series.
Yeah, maybe.
It's also a remake of Shane, but a good one.
The next one is Enemy Mine, which is the first movie that I can remember seeing Louis Gossett Jr. in. And I was pretty young when I saw it. I don't remember exactly how old I was. I remember watching it with my dad, though, and being kind of riveted on the screen by this character drama that's playing out between these two characters that are ostensibly enemies, but have to basically form a partnership between themselves and a friendship. It's a character drama. This is one of the things that science fiction is so great at doing, is taking something that could be a contemporary social issue and putting it in space, and then making a character drama out of it so that it's digestible to an audience. And the performances in it are fantastic. Definitely worth seeing if you have never seen it before. My next is Jewel of the Nile. And I wanted to have this one in. I think this one is not as good as Romancing the Stone. I think Romancing the Stone is the better movie. But this was after everybody was starting to make these kind of adventure movies again because of the Indiana Jones series. And Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner together are electric. So is Danny DeVito, for that matter, who was actually in the running to play Sala in the Indiana Jones movies and instead ended up doing that character here. So, like I said, it's not as good as Romancing the Stone, but it's still a lot of fun. And I kind of wish that they had branched it off into a trilogy. Unfortunately, they never did a third, unless you want to count War of the Roses, but that's not really. That's not the same characters. It's not a continuation. It's just a spin-off movie with the same actors. So, Kevin, I think, might appreciate this one. Maybe Martin. I don't know. He-Man and She-Ra: The Secret of the Sword.
I watched it. I liked it.
Now, obviously, this is because I was a kid of that generation, and it is immediately after this that basically the entire franchise imploded because of She-Ra. but at the time, this was a theatrical release, and for a kid at the time, it was a big deal. So that's why I'm including it. It was kind of while not the true climax of He-Man and She-Ra, it was right there. So next up, we've got Young Sherlock Holmes, which I have not seen in a long, long time. But I remember watching it over and over and over again when it came out on cable. Has some of I think it is the first computer animated character that was ever on film, generated by Lucasfilm. You remember the plate glass knight?
Mm. Yeah,
that was ILM's work, and
I didn't know that.
it's a pretty good Sherlock Holmes story too. So I definitely recommend that if it's one that you've not seen. And my final one for the list is The Explorers. Now, I love this movie, but I've kind of been under the impression from other people that I've talked to that it's not as well loved by a lot of people, which kind of surprises me. This had River Phoenix in it. I think it had. I'm trying to remember. Was it Josh Brolin? No, Ethan Hawke. It was Ethan Hawke. Has some amazing alien puppetry, has some great music in it. It's very much kind of a movie in that 80s style of kids that are secret basement geniuses who create a spacecraft and go up for an adventure in space where all is not as it initially appears. Um, and so I adore the movie. But some of that may be rose-colored glasses because I was a kid at the time, so I don't
didn't
know.
watch this until I
And
was
yes,
older.
Dick Miller is in it. Yes, that's true. What did you think of it, Martin? If you hadn't seen it when you were younger?
I liked it, but even the first time I watched it, I was in my late teens. I knew if I had seen it when I was younger, I would have loved it.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of disappointing to me because I really, really did love this movie. I thought it was fantastic.
Right.
Um,
I don't dislike it the way, for instance, Marv dislikes Goonies. But you just know that those times where you're like, if only this had found me at the right time,
Yep.
I would have loved this thing.
Yep. We are going to cover Marv's movies. He's not here. He was going to try and make it, but he did submit a list, but it was very short. His first one, I'm going to let Kevin cover because.
Yeah, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. So, one, Bruce Leroy is the first Super Saiyan.
Fair point.
This is let's see. You get a record producer who wants to cash in on the martial arts craze. So he casts an unknown actor who actually knows karate, and then he decides to go I would say make fun of music videos. And you get one of the greatest movie villains of all time, Show Enough. And I used to work with a guy whose name I won't say, but we used to call him Eddie Arcadian because he looked just like him. And there's Vanity being higher than the sun the entire time. And it's got awesome karate, and this guy who gets nicknamed Bruce Leroy walks around, and his father sells pizza. At the end, there's a fight. He glows. It's awesome.
The next movie, I don't know who to have talk about. Maybe Martin. This is one that Marv really should talk about, but
Bob,
I can talk about this.
go for
all
it.
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not necessarily saying take control, but like I can talk about it because I used to watch this all the time as a kid. Blue, sad Big Bird really leaves an imprint on you as a child. But yeah, I apparently watched the crap out of this movie when I was little. It's kind of like a Muppet road trip in a sense because they're following that bird. You know what I mean? Like they're broken up into these groups traveling. I'm horrible at describing movies, but I mean, it's
Big
an
Bird
80s
leaves
Muppet
to go
movie.
find his people.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the inhabitants of Sesame Street leave to try to find him, to bring him back, because they're his people.
Yeah.
It's kind of the lesson of the movie. He gets kidnapped and turns blue, and people get sad, and then he gets rescued, and then
I thought he was either painted blue or was just a light thing, because I don't think he turns blue, right?
I thought he turned blue because he was so sad, and they needed to make everybody super sad.
Now
Do-
you've got me
do you
wondering.
Do you guys remember Snoopy Come Home?
Yes.
That
Oh.
was the movie that gave me that vibe. Snoopy Come Home terrified me as a kid.
Blue Big Bird makes me sad.
The final. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think I love that Cookie Monster kept eating in the car. Right? That's this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The final movie for Marv, which he specifically called Last Night to make sure
Yes.
that none of us took it, so that you guys understand why it took so long to get here.
No.
He calls it and then he doesn't show up.
There's no way this movie was not going to make the list. And I think probably all of us probably would have fought for it. But
Mm-hmm.
he specifically called it well in advance. It's the only time he's ever done that, by the way. I usually have to badger people to get me the lists. And he was like, I'm calling it right now. No one else has taken this one from me. So this one hardly needs an explanation. This is a classic of cinema that I think will still be a classic when it's 100 years old. They'll still be playing this movie, I think. It is one that you have the rare case of Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale actually having integrity and saying, we're not going to make any more of these and we're not going to remake these. They have done spin-off projects. There's been computer games and there has been a musical that's been made. But
don't forget the super awesome cartoon. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I actually got those on DVD for my son last Christmas because he asked for them. Back to the Future is his favorite series. So Marv got this one. I'm sure all of you have seen it, so there's not really a need to belabor it. But
I will say this movie is a triumph of editing to make you forget how creepy it is and how absolutely tragic it is as well.
Well, actually, we could talk about that because Disney turned it down. You know, this is when they tried to pitch to Disney, and they were reading it and were horrified because of the implications of the movie. And then there's the whole thing about Eric Stoltz totally not getting that this was a comedy.
I think he got that they were trying to do that, but he kept fighting him on it because he's right. From Marty's perspective, this is a tragedy.
I guess, but man, that's a weird perspective to take when you know what this movie is supposed to be. It's like you
Right.
can't just go maudlin about the fact that it's like I don't know, man. That's a way to kill a mood.
Oh, it is. And we got the best possible version of this movie, but everybody Marty knows is dead. None of those people were the same people he left.
Yes, but I mean,
But it's the
frankly,
better version that he wishes he had.
and honestly, I think that all of them would wish to have been too. So it's hard for me to look at it as anything but a triumph. Plus, he got the Toyota at the end.
Hey, so what if there's a world out there where George stood up to Biff because George was really Sam Beckett?
Oh my God. All right. You go write your fanfic. I want to see how this turns out.
Okay, there was supposed if Magnum PI had gotten another season, there would if
Quantum Leap
had gotten another season, there would have been one where Sam jumped into Magnum.
That
would have been wonderful.
They wanted to do a couple of episodes with it, and they're like, no one's going to understand this. It's going to be confusing. And I'm like, no, stop thinking we're stupid and just let awesome be awesome.
That needs to be the Quantum Leap movie. Sam jumps into Magnum when he's a POW. But then again, that takes away Magnum being his own hero. So maybe not.
We do have a couple super chats that we need to get to before we get out of here. One is from Douglas Nutt for 2 saying, "Welcome back, Apollo. The cast is complete."
Woo woo.
And then we have fake Asian wizard Black Jonas for $1.99 saying, "Look at the success Amazon has had with other IPs." Rook indeed. So that's it for us, folks. We're finally back to cinema of the 80s. We will probably be doing 86 next Friday. In the meantime, do you guys have anything that you want to pitch before we get out for the night?
Well, Trish, Hangry Table, and Nolan Thunder do The Lost Guys. You can find that on That Park Place, the channel. And then about 2 months later, usually, you can find them over here on T3PO for free.
Trish?
What he said plus M4 Empire. I do Crime and Punishment with Marv as a member exclusive. So if you're a member over there or would like to be, pop on over. Listen to us talk about Murder Most Foul. And that's about it there, because Martin covered Lost Guys.
I'm pretty sure that I cover Murder Most Foul.
I was going to make that joke.
What? What do I
The
not
chicken.
get?
Fowls.
Oh. Okay. Touche.
Kevin?
Hey, I'm glad to be back. I'm going to make a concerted effort to be around a little bit more. This was a lot of fun. I missed everybody. I'll probably start making videos again at some point in time. I just need another couple weeks to get the energy back up. But if I don't see you guys on Tuesday, I will definitely be here on Friday. I just gotta
prep in your list.
I gotta save that energy up and just power through.
All right, sounds good. We're gonna get out of here, guys. In the meantime, welcome Kevin back again. Good to see him after an absence here. Glad that you're doing better, by the way. And we hope that you all have a great weekend. We'll see you all real soon.
The bell rings every morning. It's off to school and work. Waiting for some fun while my boss acts like a jerk. Pro show afternoons. Midnight sketch can't come too soon. The afternoon sketch can't come too soon. But at night I'm filled with dread. I know just what I'll do instead. Come on and follow me. It's time you see for Lorn and Apollo. Time to laugh and learn. Come feel the burn of what the fandom was. What random fun doesn't escape? Isn't it great? Late night with Lorn and Apollo.